Welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Allison and I am in $20,000 of debt. Realistically, I'm hoping to be able to pay that off by the end of next year. And I will also preface this by saying $15,500 of that is a car loan and just over $4,000 is credit card debt, which I know is a lot, but as I mentioned, we are working on getting all of that paid off in the next 12 to 18 months. Some other things about me: I am 28 years old. I work in healthcare full-time, and I also like to post content on social media. I post a lot of videos about personal finances, personal growth, and just lifestyle content as well. So if any of that is interesting to you, feel free to like and subscribe, follow along, and join me on this debt payoff journey, because maybe you are also working on paying off your debt and we can do this together. One of the bigger reasons why I started posting about like my personal debt payoff journey is because it is such a taboo topic and not very openly talked about, but it is nice to realize that you're not alone. And you know, life is challenging right now. Life is expensive. It's hard navigating your financial life in your mid to late 20s. Once you graduate college, no one really tells you how to live your life. I feel like it's not very common to be like super financially literate. I just feel like it's nice to share this information because it's realistic, helps people not feel alone if they're going through a similar situation, and we're all positive vibes here. There's no negativity. Well, there is negativity in my comments sometimes, but we ignore it because that's not cool. So anyway, today's video is going to be how I budget my paycheck while also trying to navigate focusing on paying off my debt as quickly as possible. I get paid bi-weekly, so every other Friday. The money that I get from this paycheck is what I use to budget pretty much for the next 2 weeks, and I just keep doing that. That is the system that works for me. This paycheck is for September 6th. My total income for this paycheck was $2,286, and then I had $56 left over from my last pay period. So what I usually do is track that, carry that over, and then add that to the total number and use that number to budget anything that I need for the next 2 weeks. So that number would be $2,342. So that is kind of like my main number that I'll use to budget. But I already usually have this budget sort of pre-planned based on like roughly $2,300, because that's typically what I'll at least have, that much amount of money. And then I just kind of adjust to the specific numbers once I know exactly what my paycheck is going to be and exactly what I'll have that rolls over from the last paycheck. As always, first thing that I save for is my rent. So this is the first paycheck of the month of September, so I'll save $400 from this paycheck for October's rent, and then for my second paycheck I'll save $450, and then I'll have the rent paid for October. So I save from this month for October's rent, and I break it up between $400 and $450. That way I'm not taking out all $850 from one paycheck, and that way also I feel like that helps spread out your expenses. Next thing that I've been doing is putting $50 into my emergency fund, because I do want to at least try to be building that up a little bit. I feel like I have a decent chunk in my emergency fund right now, but I feel like you can always use more, and I don't want to have like nothing being saved in there right now, because I just feel like I know myself and I know like something probably is gonna happen with my car. So I like to be putting just a little bit into my emergency fund every paycheck. That way, just in case, God forbid, anything happens, I have a little bit in there. So I did put $50 into my emergency fund, and then me and my fiance are actively trying to save for a house right now. We used a lot of the money that we got back from our wedding, and we have that in a high-yield savings account, and we've both just kind of been putting about $100 into that account every single paycheck. So I did put $100 from this paycheck into our house savings fund. I say this a lot, but I do think it is still okay to be saving for big important milestones such as a house, because that is a good investment while you're paying off some of your debt. I know some people definitely disagree with that, and that is totally fine, but we have a very big goal of wanting to buy a house next year. Basically what I'm trying to say is it is okay to want to save for these big important milestone purchases. Like we were saving for a wedding when I was still trying to pay off my student loans. It's okay. Just know that it's okay. You can do whatever you want with your money and your finances. Look at the big picture and look at what's important to you. Just know that it's not one size fits all for everyone, and you can do whatever you want. Tangent there, because I know people will make comments about that. And then, as I mentioned in my last paycheck breakdown video, I am pausing my Roth IRA at the moment, so I did not put anything into that account. And then I also put $125 into our grocery account. We both put money into this account every paycheck. That way we have a specific amount of money set aside for groceries or other things for around the house, cleaning products, anything like that is in a separate account that we use just for groceries. And it's been working out really great for us, because we used to do that thing where it's like, oh, I'll get it this time, you get it next time, or like Venmoing each other money, and like we're married at this point, so it's like that was just getting silly. So we don't do that anymore, and that's been working great. Eventually we do plan to combine some of our other finances as well, or at least have an account for like any major bills and stuff, but I assume that might happen more so when we actually do have a house. It's just we do both have our set financial budget right now, so I also think it's not necessary that we do that. Like that saying, like if it's not broke, don't fix it kind of situation. So we'll see what ends up actually happening, but at least the grocery account works wonders for us. The next bill that will come out during this pay period is our internet bill, and our internet is $50.90, which is pretty good. Next, I put $200 towards my car loan. Again, I mentioned this last video, but I recently decided to split up my car payment between my two paychecks so that I'm always making at least the car payment, but I'm putting extra towards it. But then when you split it up like this into two payments, you're saving on interest in the long run, because you accrue interest daily on a car loan. So if you're making two smaller payments, you're actually getting less interest in the long run, if that makes any sense. I did put $200 towards my car loan, and this was technically the second payment, so I was able to allocate like $70 from that towards the principal. So the next thing I plan for and budget for is any subscriptions that will come out during the next 2 weeks. That total will come to $31.84. I have 3 subscriptions that are going to come out, and that is my Aura Ring subscription, which is $6.35. Netflix is $15.49, and then Planet Fitness is $10. So overall, not too bad. I recently just went through and like purged on a bunch of subscriptions that were no longer necessary, so that felt really good. I also always budget for my cats. There's my little baby right there. He's sunbathing right now. I get cat food and cat litter delivered every 2 weeks. Well, every 2 weeks and then every 4 weeks. So this time I did have to get both delivered at the same time. So I got 2 things of cat litter and 2 things of cat food, and that came to $76.75. I actually don't think is too bad, because the food will last us the whole month and the cat litter lasts us 2 weeks. So we only have to buy 1 more thing of cat litter, so that's about $100 a month for 2 cats, which is not too bad. I don't think, for having the 2 cutest cats in the entire world. Then the next thing that I'm gonna pay is my credit card. I'm putting $420 towards my credit card this pay period, which is pretty good. And then this next thing was a little bit planned. I've been looking into it for a while. My problem is I am never satisfied. Like, I'm never happy. I'm never content in my job. This next purchase is actually going to help me progress in, not necessarily like in the same field that I'm in, but it is a certification course that I enrolled in for a certificate in coding. So I am very excited because I had been kind of looking into it for a little bit, and I did a lot of research, and I also didn't impulsively do it, did do a payment plan. I figured it's kind of like when I was paying for my master's program. I was saving probably about the same amount per paycheck for my master's degree program so that I wasn't taking any more loans for that. So I figured for the next couple months I just save like $250 every paycheck to put towards this. The whole point of it was that I am investing in something for my career. It's also just going to be a better overall work experience for me, because if you've been watching a lot of my videos, you know that I commute an hour each way to work, and I've been doing it for literally almost a year to the date, and it's getting exhausting, like it really is. And I've been doing what I do for work for about 3 years, and I work with patients, like direct patient contact. It is exhausting. I'm burnt out already, and I'm only 28 years old. So I just have been contemplating a lot and looking into a lot of different things so that I can hopefully find something else that will make me happy and just like have a better overall like work-life balance for me. I just felt like I had to do it because I've been so miserable the last few months. It's worth a shot. It's worth doing the course, seeing what happens from it. Back to what I actually paid for out of this paycheck. The payment plan is 6 payments of $500. So I am paying $500 from this paycheck, and then every paycheck going forward, because you pay once a month, I'm saving $250. So then like the next 2 paychecks I'll save $250. That way I can make the next payment of $500. It is gonna be quite hefty out of my monthly budget. I definitely think it's worth it overall for my like mental health and sanity and just overall happiness. I originally was going to put that $500 towards my credit card, but I am making the first payment for this certification course. Obviously it was a little bit stressful because of my financial situation that I'm in. In my head, it's the opportunity for this to help me and change my career course is like more important to me than paying off my debt, like just maybe a month or 2 faster. Well, my credit card debt. The car loan, obviously this would have helped with the car loan a lot, but okay, enough rambling, because I felt like I was just kind of justifying myself there, which I was, but I was also just explaining again what sort of thought process goes through my head when I'm making these types of decisions, especially when I am in debt and I kind of preach on my social media that I'm like trying to pay it off as fast as I can. I think it's also important to realize that life happens and not everything is going to be perfect and work out just the way that you want. Things are gonna happen, things are gonna come up, things are going to be more important to you. Not to be like cliche or anything, but it is true that you only live once. You have this one life. It is not worth it to be absolutely miserable with what you're doing. If I'm taking this little sacrifice to potentially make my life so much better in the future, then I think that it's worth it to me. If you add all of that up, all of my expenses, fixed expenses, bills, whatever, that total comes to $1,955. And then what I do is take that number, subtract it from the $2,342 that I mentioned in the beginning, and that would leave me with $385 for the next 2 weeks. And that is actually a little bit more, I would say, than I normally leave myself with, but I think that is a very good number, especially for these next 2 weeks, because next weekend we're taking a long weekend trip to Colorado to visit some family. So I kind of knew that that was coming up, and I wanted to leave a little bit extra money for whatever comes up during that, because I'm assuming we are going to be eating out. We want to buy my in-laws, dinner one night. So I just know that it's going to be a little bit more like of a higher spend week than what I normally have. So I budgeted just a little bit differently to incorporate that potential extra spending And then I also think my gas will be a little lower, so that $385 includes gas, you know, any other expenses really that come up. So it shouldn't be too much. Like, we eat out maybe once a week. I do get coffee sometimes, breakfast, sandwiches, things like that, like not often, but again, things just happen to come up. So I feel like $385 is a very good number. Gas should be a little lower because I won't be driving as much. I took Friday, Monday, and Tuesday off, so I won't be driving to work as much. So hopefully that will be down closer to like 140 rather than like 180. I think that will be a very good number to budget with, so that again, I'm not putting anything else onto credit cards or whatever. So that is the budget. That is everything that I'm going to be spending my money on in the next 2 weeks, and I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope it was entertaining, interesting. I apologize for yapping on a few times. I just feel like these long form videos are where I really get to express myself and explain some of these decisions that I make with my money. But thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you guys in the next video.